Hey everyone, how you all doing? Today I want to talk about how to escape narcissistic people. And actually that word is probably overused. A better word is probably manipulative people, or maybe even the word bullies. People who you're close to, whether they're family members, friends, or sometimes somebody you're dating or married to, they just treat you badly, but they're such a constant, consistent figure in your life. And to start off, what I want to talk about, I want to let you know that that is not God's will for you. You were not put on this earth to get abused and manipulated. There is persecution in being a Christian, but that is not the same as being on a Ferris wheel that whilst you're at the bottom, everything's okay, but you get to the top and you're getting tortured by this person because you're committed or tied into them, whether it be financially or socially or emotionally. And they're treating you badly, they're lying about you, they're lying to you, they're making you feel horrendous, all whilst you can't get off the Ferris wheel. And then when there is an opportunity to get off at the bottom, they say things like, "Why are you overreacting? How could you leave me after all I've done for you? Do you really think God wants you to leave me right now in this state that I'm in?" The most intense this will feel is probably when it's somebody that you're dating, and they probably have some really good qualities, and you guys probably have some really good memories that were really fantastic and actually amazing high points, and they're going to make you feel like those high points aren't available elsewhere. And really what they're doing is stealing glory and credit from God, because everything that we enjoy in this world comes from God or mirrors something that comes from God. The reason you enjoy spontaneous trips with a boyfriend that's toxic that you shouldn't be dating is because doing that with your husband in a covenant relationship where you're protected by his commitment to you is an amazing feeling that God wants you to feel. And also, when you're in that toxic relationship, the highs feel extra high because there's so many lows. The butt kissing that occurs when you're getting to the bottom of the Ferris wheel so that they can take you for another lap around the Ferris wheel feels extra good and extra nice, and their validation is like sweet honey on your tongue, is because they've been feeding you nothing but disgusting bitter crap for the rest of the trip, for the rest of the go around, and they time it just right so that you go for another trip around the Ferris wheel, or in our case another trip around the sun. And they have you violating your conscience. They have you pushing away God, because they slowly, by taking his glory away or making his glory less prominent in your mind, implying it less and less, stealing God's glory and adorning themselves with it, so that you start to think that you can't live without them. They become an idol that holds a place in your life that only God should have ever held. That doesn't mean that you're not saved. That doesn't mean that you have lost your salvation, which is impossible, by the way. But it does mean that you are walking in your flesh according to your feelings, because they have tricked you out of walking in the Spirit and the revelation thereof. Now, the first thing I would do is seek God and get close to God and start to clock when you actually say, "I want to get close to God, but it would cost me this with this person." The treatment that they have garnered from you will always require that God takes a back seat. So start looking at ways that you've made God take a back seat in your life and start righting those wrongs. If they can call you up any time of day or night and you care so much about their affirmation that you'll drop whatever you're doing, get a horrible night's sleep, skip out on something that you know God is calling you to do because you want to please this person, you want to be there for them, then that's got to go. Number one, that's got to go. Because all the other steps, like blocking them, like dumping them, like not talking to them, this is treating the symptom. But I want to treat your heart, which is the root of why they were able to be an idol in your life. Because one day you will be in a position where nobody can actually do that to you, because you've been through this and you've learned how to keep God in the front seat of your car. Blocking, dumping, all that comes later. I'm more concerned with you, as is God. We want to go and look at your heart and see, because there's no good you dumping this toxic person and replacing them with another person that takes you on another different color, different speed, different rhythm Ferris wheel that is actually just horrible and takes you away from God. So first, investigate your heart and see how you're putting them, or honestly, your own feelings concerning them, first before God. Then when you've done that, or when you've began to do that, what you need to do is stay extra close to God. Start filling that empty house with things like reading, with hanging out with other believers that love you and don't manipulate you or use you for their gain. Because I promise you, the narcissistic person that is using you will hate the fact that you are close with people who don't use you and actually pour into you. They will probably try to ruin their reputation and force a wedge between you and these people. At the very least, they will be completely indifferent towards these people, and they won't make an effort to be friends with them because they know they can't get them on the same Ferris wheel that you're on, and honestly, they might pull you off with them. Now what will happen is they will start to panic. They will start to see that your life is changing, your heart is changing, that maybe you're not on their payroll anymore. There's videos of ex-Satanists talking about the conversations they have with Satan. Now, narcissistic and manipulative people, they are not demons themselves, but they have a lot of the same tactics that demons use to keep you in this horrible loop of death that keeps you far from God. So investigating your own heart, starting to build in more patterns in your life that make sure God is first and this other person is not first, but they're in their rightful position behind God in the hierarchy of needs that you have in your life. But be very careful, because we're not just putting them in the backseat and bringing God to the front. We're putting your feelings in the backseat, because the only reason they manipulate you is not because you're a good person and you care about them and love them. Maybe you do, but that's not why they're able to manipulate you. They're able to manipulate you because you care too much about your feelings. And I'm talking about myself here. I've been in this position. So no shade, but you must recognize that your feelings need to go in the back seat with this manipulative person, because neither of them love you. And then thirdly, you need to make the leap. And ideally, the first two steps have distanced you all to a place where you can kind of do it organically. But if you need to cut them off and tell them why and tell them what's up, I would leave something not mysterious, but something that kind of ends the conversation. And when God gives you an opportunity to leave, maybe you get another job offer, or you move away, or there's a good reason to break up with them once and for all, you see a text, take that reason and run with it, because God will actually provide you a way out. He will give you a situation where you can leave. He's not going to force you to stay with somebody that he doesn't want you to be with. And if you ask God for an opportunity to leave somebody with the express intent of being closer with God and not being manipulated so that you can live for the Lord, yeah, that's a prayer that he will hear. And then if you're tempted into going back with them, that is on you. I'm sorry. I know a lot of you don't want to be with a manipulative, narcissistic person, but there is somebody in this world, there are people in this world that actually want that more than God, because at the end of the day, they care about their feelings more than they do God. And they can't claim that they love that person more, because love is always done in truth, y'all. And the truth is that person ain't God, and that person is abusing you, and you are enabling them to abuse you and probably others. If this video convicts you, then I'm talking to you. Investigate your own heart. I've put bad friends, I've put relationships, I've put family members before God, and I cannot sit here and say that I'm the victim of that. God has always been available to me. And I thank God that he stuck around and gave me the grace that he did. I was being selfish, I was loving my feelings. Now, we have all fallen short of the glory of God, so I do not intend to shame you, but I do intend to call you out of what God never built you for in the first place. Thanks for watching, I'll see you soon.